The financial crisis of 2008 never finished. I will show you today why this is the case. We've been covering these type of statistics and indicators for years now on this channel. And I will show you today how the conditions are specifically getting worse and coming to your doorstep. The US economy is worsening as mass layoffs begin. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Yellen, Janet Yellen, everyone knows her, and she said this: "For our part, the Federal Reserve will strive to clearly and transparently communicate its monetary policy strategy in order to minimize the likelihood of surprises that could disrupt financial markets, both at home and around the world." And this is out of CNBC. What I want to talk about first is they say that they'll be transparent, but we saw what happened with Ben Bernanke when they asked, "Who did you give these billions of dollars to? And will you tell us?" He said no. So right there, they will not be transparent. In fact, they had the $16 trillion bailout. They say it's only $4.4 trillion. We know that they've printed more. They are absolutely not transparent in their policy. But we know something is for sure, that if the interest rates rise, which they say they're going to do in the first half of 2015, we've seen some numbers thrown around there, but let's just say the first half of 2015, they want to bring up the interest rates. I don't foresee a serious interest rate rise for the foreseeable future. If they do, we know specifically that they're ready to crash the markets. The market cannot withstand any sort of interest rate rise. We're right now globally at a common interest rate, and that is 0%. And they are right now going ahead with this plan globally. Let's get into more factors here. Inequality is the world's leaders' biggest worry. And who said this exactly? That's the World Economic Forum. So if we go into the details, the widening income gap between the world's richest and poorest is the leader's greatest concern for 2015, according to a survey published by the World Economic Forum. They said that worsening inequality jumped to first place this year as the biggest risk for 2015, even higher than unemployment. So I like to get into unemployment a lot, but I also do cover this inequality that we're having. We see the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, and there's no time in history where we have seen this at a worse time. Now, if you look at this right here during the bailouts that occurred, we saw the small individual working for that company, or working for the financial firms, for example, making a very small portion of the total, and the CEO making practically all of the money that the corporation makes. And that's where the money is being channeled into the hands of the elite. And of course, then you wonder why they have the power to lobby the governments. They have their men in the positions of the power. And that's how this works. It's crony capitalism and it's corruption, essentially. Right here, this is again out of CNBC, and this is really what I wanted to get to in this video today. Employers plan to cut 51,000 jobs in October. That's up significantly from 30,000 in the previous month. They're laying off by the thousands upon thousands of jobs, and this is going to get worse. And the only jobs that are being recreated are the temporary employment. Temporary employment is great for people who are struggling, who need something, but it's not great to build a strong middle class and a strong economy. You can't do that. That's what they don't understand. Yet the market continues to rise, knowing that the government will be there to backstop any crisis. They will accept Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's garbage onto their books. They will nationalize the banking system should they need to. Look at Japan. Look at the result of that. They will forevermore be destroyed. There is no hope in a country like that when you have these type of policies. Let's go right here. This is where the money's going. If you want to know, instead of creating jobs or finding ways to basically lower the burden on people, they're actually increasing the burden by increasing the taxation. Iraq War 2, Obama seeks new war authorization, will more than double the U.S. troops on the ground. This right here out of CNS News, and it said this: Obama will order an additional 1,500 troops to Iraq, more than doubling the 1,400 who are currently there. That's what we have. We have bombs death, guns, and pain. And that's what the US and Canada did, airstrikes on ISIS, and we saw France taking part in recent years' attacks, and every country basically has been a part of this, really generating the war machine and keeping the military industrial complex happy. And it has been working significantly well for them. At the same time, however, right here on our own borders, within our own borders, we are seeing more of a crisis occurring, economically, politically, and even the threats of things happening. We're seeing civil unrest in all of our countries. At the same time, we're putting all of our troops overseas to bomb people and hurt people that may or may not be guilty of something, but however, they're not protecting our own borders. That's a big problem. And in my book, I talked about this. Now, we're using the currency to basically fund these wars. But this has happened before, twice in US history alone. Hyperinflation occurred twice, and it says that during the Revolutionary War and also during the Civil War, they had their own currencies that they were using to fund the war. In Weimar Germany, they also did the same thing. They took their dollars, their marks, off the gold backing and basically printed to infinity. And you saw what happened. You know about the wheelbarrows of cash and these type of things. And you'll see this happen in your country too if they continue on these policies. Now, again, we get into this argument of is it deflation or is it hyperinflation? Regardless, your money will be worthless. So let's go into what Greenspan said. And he said this: gold is a currency. No fiat currency, including the dollar, can match it. And this funny thing about this was, I don't know if you guys saw this right here. This is from the Council on Foreign Relations, which I actually quoted in my previous video here. But basically what he said was that this information here was actually excluded from the initial transcript of the CFR meeting, which is actually quite interesting that they would get rid of it altogether, because he said something so powerful. And when the truth is spoken, they need to really cross that out. We don't want the truth to be shared, that's for sure. So he's saying this, and I definitely do believe that gold is a very strong currency in this way. We could have gold backing on our dollars. We could have some semblance of reality, at least back it with wheat. I don't care. I mean, have some sort of semblance of reality in the system, whereas we're going towards the IMF SDR type of digital currency, where I see it going, and that is even worse than the dollars that we're currently on right now. So then I want to bring in this information here out of CNBC. There's a Swiss referendum on November 30th that could require the country's central bank to hold 20% of its foreign exchange reserves in gold. I don't really know if they're going to go ahead with this. So far, it's 2 to 5 right here. And, this would obviously be a big purchase for them based on what I've read. I don't know if they're going to go for this. If they do, certainly they're going to still have to print money because they want to manage that 120 to the euro. So I would have to really suggest that this may not be very realistic for them in the future, because as all currencies are being devalued, they would have to buy up lots and lots of gold. It does mean a good thing for the price of gold indirectly, but of course we're talking about gold on the financial markets, which are heavily manipulated. They could push the price down as far as they want. We've seen it come down significantly, but at the same time we have physical gold that is in high demand. Now, whether it's in a shortage or not, we know it's in high demand all around the world. The numbers continue to increase for physical demand. Now, when we talk about the ETFs and the futures and all of this, those numbers fluctuate all the time, but actual physical demand is on the up. I'm really not betting on this at any time, that's for sure. And this is what I see our conditions getting to right now. And this is just one example out of Breaking911.com. In Tampa Bay, Florida, people are camping out and lining up to get free chicken. That's right. You can get free chicken for a year at the store Chick-fil-A. And basically, people are literally lining up. 100 adults are going to get themselves a year worth of chicken. Now, if the economy was just booming, if this was the roaring 20s all over again, you probably wouldn't have so many people furiously trying to get into line to get this chicken. And the same thing goes for the Nike shoes. People were literally dying over Nike shoes. And this is where the economy is going. And this is really tells you a lot of the public itself, unfortunately, how people people are really focused on the wrong things. They're looking into definitely the wrong things. They're not focused on their futures, and it really shows you something when this type of thing is happening. It's really not a good thing for the future. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of those who have been commenting and the thumbs up and the shares and everything. I see it all. I really find it difficult to reply to everybody, but as you know, I do reply. I go through every chance I get and just reply to every emails, particularly on the insiders. They get first priority, and then into the my other email, and then the comments and the messages and everything. I just wanted to let you know the best place to get me is definitely on the insiders. I usually reply within a day or two, and alternatively, if you're gonna message me in the comments, I might miss some. And there's also the fact that people do comment to me on Twitter or Facebook, which I don't check too often. So if you really need to get a hold of me and want me to reply, just please email me or comment. That's another way to do it. If you found this video informative, I would really appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to become an insider. The Insiders is where I give out all my best intel for free, and that is available to moneygps.com. You scroll down to the bottom, fill in your email address, and you get occasional emails from me with good, short, concise info.